You get paid. Maybe it hits on a Friday. That little notification from your bank. That brief, beautiful moment where you feel like, okay, we're good. We're actually good. And then you pay rent. Or the mortgage. You fill up the gas tank. You buy groceries. And honestly, when did a bag of groceries start costing what a car payment used to? And then you look at what's left, and it's less. Way less than it felt like it should be. You didn't go anywhere fancy. You didn't splurge. You just lived. And somehow the math still doesn't work. I've been sitting with that feeling for a long time. My name is Robert, and I spend probably too much of my mental energy thinking about money. Not just the numbers, but the psychology of it. The invisible forces that quietly drain people's financial lives while they're busy just trying to get through the week. I think about why people who earn more than their parents ever did somehow feel more financially stressed. I think about why doing everything right, getting the job, getting the raise, being responsible, still leaves so many people feeling like they're running in place. And over the years, I've come to understand that what's happening to your paycheck isn't just about you. It's not a personal failure. It's a system, a set of converging economic forces, behavioral traps, and lifestyle pressures that are working against you, often without you even realizing it. And by the end of this, I think you're going to see your own financial situation in a completely different way. Not with despair, but with clarity. Because clarity is where things actually start to change. Let's start with something that sounds like it should be good news. Wages have technically gone up. Like, if you look at pure dollar amounts over the past 20 years, people are earning more than they were in 2005. So why does it feel worse? Because wages are measured in dollars, but your life is measured in purchasing power. And those two things have been quietly drifting apart for decades. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine you got a 3% raise last year. Feels good, right? But if inflation ran at 4.5%, which, as a lot of us lived through recently, is absolutely a real scenario, then you actually took a pay cut. You have more dollars, but each dollar buys less. You're moving forward on the treadmill, but the treadmill sped up. And the cruelest part? The things that inflation hits hardest aren't luxuries. It's housing, healthcare, childcare, education, the foundational stuff. The things you absolutely cannot opt out of have inflated at rates that dwarf whatever raise you got at your annual review. Meanwhile, the things that did get cheaper, like televisions and electronics, are nice, but you can't pay your rent with a discounted flat screen. The takeaway here isn't to despair about raises, it's to stop measuring your financial health in dollars and start measuring it in what those dollars actually do. Ask yourself, can I afford the same quality of life my parents had at my age? For most people under 40, the honest answer is no. And that's not a personal failure. That's math. Okay, I want to talk about something that I think is genuinely underappreciated as a financial drain, and it's one that specifically targets people who consider themselves responsible with money. It's subscriptions, not just the obvious ones, all of them. There was a study, and the numbers were kind of wild, where people were asked to estimate their monthly subscription costs. The average guess was somewhere around $80. The actual average was over $200, sometimes nearly double what people thought. And here's why. Each subscription is designed to feel negligible. $9.99 here, $14.99 there, $4.99 for the one you forgot you signed up for during a free trial. The number is always just below the psychological threshold where you'd actually notice it. But add them up, streaming services, and there are, 6 major ones now, plus cloud storage, music, a news site, maybe a fitness app, meal kit deliveries, your gym membership you use twice a month because good intentions are eternal. You're looking at hundreds of dollars a month evaporating through tiny, almost invisible holes. What makes this particularly sneaky is that subscriptions don't feel like spending. They feel like infrastructure, like utilities, and so they never get questioned the way a big purchase would. You'd agonize over a $600 purchase, but you'll let $600 a year of forgotten subscriptions just quietly drain out of your account without a second thought. The action here is almost embarrassingly simple. Pull up your bank statement, highlight every recurring charge, and ask yourself, if I had to resubscribe to this today, knowing what I know, would I? If the answer is, maybe not,
Cancel it. You could always come back, but every month you don't is real money gone. There's this thing that happens to almost everyone when their income goes up, and it's so predictable it almost feels like a law of nature. You earn more, so you spend more. Not recklessly, just proportionately. A slightly nicer apartment, a slightly better car.
Eating out a little more often because, hey, you worked hard, you deserve it. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is absolutely why so many people who earn good salaries still feel broke. Think about someone making $45,000 who gets bumped to $65,000. That's a $20,000 raise. That should be transformative. And it is for about 6 months. Then the bigger apartment lease kicks in, the car payment on the slightly nicer vehicle starts, the vacations that felt impossible now feel reasonable. And within a year or two, they're living paycheck to paycheck again, just at a higher altitude. The trap isn't the spending itself. Some lifestyle improvement is totally reasonable and earned. The trap is the automaticity of it. It happens without a decision. It's just friction-free expansion. Your lifestyle inflates to fill whatever container your paycheck creates. The reframe that actually helps is this. When your income goes up, treat that increase like it doesn't exist, at least partially. Route a meaningful chunk of every raise directly into savings or investments before it ever touches your checking account. Pay the future version of yourself first. Let your lifestyle creep modestly if it needs to, but make sure your savings rate creeps right alongside it. Otherwise, you'll earn more for the rest of your life and always feel like you're behind. Here's something that made me quietly furious when I first really understood it. Being poor or even just financially stretched is expensive, like mechanically expensive in ways that compound over time. Credit card interest, overdraft fees, payday loan cycles, buying things on financing plans that seem affordable monthly but are brutal in total. Renting instead of buying, not because renting is wrong, but because when you have to rent because you can't save a down payment, you're building equity for someone else while your own net worth stays flat. And then there are the subtler ones. Not having an emergency fund means every unexpected expense goes on a credit card, which means you're paying 20-something% interest on your car repair, your medical bill, your broken water heater, whereas someone with 3 months of savings just pays for it. No interest, no stress spiral. That's it. The financial system, honestly, extracts more from people who have less. Fees hit harder when your balance is low. Interest matters more when you can't pay it off. This isn't a moral failing, it's a structural reality, but understanding it is the first step to escaping it. Even a small emergency fund, $500, then $1,000, breaks the most vicious part of the cycle. It keeps small emergencies from becoming debt events. Start there. It's not glamorous financial advice, but it might be the most impactful one on this whole list. I'll be honest, this one's a little uncomfortable to talk about, but I think it matters. We're living through the most aggressive era of social comparison in human history. We see what everyone has. We see their vacations, their kitchens, their cars, their wardrobes, and our brains, which were not designed for this, do this thing where they quietly recalibrate what normal looks like, what we deserve, what we should have by now. And so we spend. Not because we're greedy or shallow, but because we're human, and humans have always oriented themselves against their social environment. The difference is that our social environment used to be our street, our neighborhood, maybe our extended family. Now it's a global highlight reel of the most aspirational moments from millions of people, algorithmically selected to make you feel like you're falling behind. This creates spending pressure that has nothing to do with your actual needs and everything to do with the feeling of adequacy. And it is insidious because it operates mostly below the level of conscious awareness. You don't think I'm keeping up with the Joneses. You think I just want to feel good about my life. The practice that helps is getting intentional about what you actually value, not what the feed says you should value. When you're about to make a non-essential purchase, ask, is this for me or is this for an audience? That question alone, asked honestly, saves a surprising amount of money. So, here's where we land. Your paycheck isn't stretching because of one thing. It's a combination of real wage stagnation relative to the cost of the things that actually matter, the invisible drain of subscriptions and lifestyle creep, the structural costs of financial fragility, and the enormous social pressure to spend in ways that serve your image rather than your life. None of this means you're bad with money. None of it means you're doomed. But it does mean that the default path, earn, spend, keep up, repeat, will keep feeling like running in place, no matter how much you make. The shift is small and it's internal. It starts with seeing the system clearly, measuring your financial health in purchasing power and freedom, not dollars, automating the saving, breaking the subscription drift, building the cushion, spending on what genuinely moves your life forward, and gently letting go of the rest. You're not behind. You're just playing a game where a lot of the rules were never explained to you. Now you know a few of them. That's actually where it starts.